Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It's myself, George, and today I'm bringing you a spoiler review on the first two episodes of Hawkeye, of course, streaming on Disney Plus this Wednesday, the 24th of November. Now, I've been very fortunate enough to be able to get a screener for this. I have seen the first two episodes, and I will not be giving anything away. I won't even really talk about the plot because I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free for everybody at home. I've seen the trailers for this. I think most people have, but I'm going to try and avoid pinpointing certain things because I think this is a show that going clean has been a lot of fun. But before I give a little bit more thoughts, I'm of course going to bring up the sort of social medias where you can find us. Of course, if you are new to the channel, we are a I say TV channel. We've done a lot of TV this year. We've got some more TV shows coming later on this year. So if you are into that, hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more videos on the way. Now, it is worth saying for Hawkeye, because of the Marvel videos, the Spider-Man videos, sorry, that are coming up every week, this isn't one we're able to cover weekly on a Wednesday. We will be coming back for a spoiler discussion on the whole season when it's done and dusted on the 22nd of December. So when the whole series is up, we'll have a full spoiler discussion on this for you. We were meant to do the same with What If, but because of the festival, we just didn't have time to get that sorted. So it's going to be fun to be able to bring some people on for this. And obviously, if you follow the channel, you know Charlie is a massive fan. And if you are new to the channel, you can obviously find our videos, what we're going to be doing all across social media, Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvies, and we have a link to TeePublic in that description below. But as I said, I'm here to talk about Hawkeye. I'm going to keep it spoiler free for you all. But obviously, one thing I'm going to immediately talk about before I even get into the characters is the setting, because this is set in New York at Christmas. And the moment I found that out, that changed, I think, the whole complexity of my thoughts heading into this series. Now, the background with Hawkeye as a character, he's the one that's mocked the most on social media from fans and stuff, and then he does have his fans, and I do think he's quite underrated. I think his arc in Age of Ultron was probably one of the best things in the film, but he's not a character many people will say is their favorite and one. Obviously, we do have some very vocal supporters of him, but I think he's a character that deserves a show. And I think sort of my thoughts with this is sort of looking back at Black Widow is that I think if Disney Plus had been a thing by the time that entered production, Black Widow would have probably been a show as well, because I think the TV show works great, but you get character development via X amount of episodes. And I think Black Widow would have worked a lot better in that format. We've seen it do wonders of stuff like WandaVision with Loki. And I don't know if they're characters that would have warranted those stories told as a film. And I think I'm going to add Hawkeye into this, that one of the most charming things about this from the first two episodes is the Christmas setting, that obviously it's set in New York, and you look at how many famous Christmas films are set in New York, how many people want to go there that time of year. And it's a really interesting thing for Marvel to do, because it just shakes it up a little bit that, you know, without getting into Eternals and other films, how many Marvel films have we had at Christmas? Obviously, Iron Man 3 is the only one that really springs to mind, and that brings in little bits of the Christmas stuff, but it can't really bring in too much, whereas Hawkeye's been really able to lean into the Christmas setting, and I think it's a really fun way of doing it. Obviously, releasing it at Christmas time is also really smart, and I think it's worth mentioning right from the get-go that the setting is absolutely perfect. It sets the tone, the story it's trying to tell. It's the time of year, it's Hawkeye connecting with his family. Obviously, you've had the blip many years ago, and we know what he's missed out on. So from those kind of things, this series has been quite refreshing compared to some of the other Marvel stuff we've seen, and that kind of leads into the actual key focus of, obviously, this is a Hawkeye show, but you know, everyone's been waiting for this moment for many years. The introduction of Kate Bishop, of course. Hailee Steinfeld was cast as her, arguably perfect casting, as Marvel have done so many times. We've got, obviously, Jeremy Renner back as Clint Barton, who, again, has his fans, and I think he is deserving of his own show, of his own film or something, because he's always been a supporting actor and he's never had the chance to lead. So there's been some really interesting things. But between those two, I really want to talk about I mentioned the sort of Christmas setting. It really reminds me of Lethal Weapon. Obviously, I guess that's Shane Black. I think Shane Black's something to do with those, but it's almost like a buddy cop film, and it's buddy cop via the natural. It hasn't just, they're not two people, they've just come together out of this bizarre scenario, and now they're on a journey with one another, and that's something this show's doing. That's what I'm really excited for, because the characters are really what's driving the show for me. There's a supporting cast. Obviously, we've got some people we're expecting to return, teased from Black Widow. We've got Vera Farmiga that's been introduced, and many other actors. And it's one of those shows that feels quite low key, but I think it's going to be a really big hit amongst people. Again, going back to that time of year, and I just think for me, off the first two episodes, that Hailee Steinfeld has absolutely stolen it for me. I think a lot of people expected that. She's not just very good at not doing comedy stuff, but she's naturally got the chemistry for the role. She's got the chemistry with Jeremy Renner. They're working great with one another, but it's the action she can do, which has been really interesting. Now, obviously, she's been in loads of films. I think True Grit when she was younger, of course, Bumblebee last couple of years, and a few other things. And I think she's somebody that is warranted a chance at doing something in live action. And I just think they've absolutely nailed it. It's a character that I don't know a lot about. I've not read Hawkeye comics, but I know, similar to Miles Morales, this is a character that at some point or another the MCU was going to get so developed they need to introduce. And obviously, talking about Miles is really random, but you wouldn't be surprised if that's a character that comes in the next sort of 8 years. And that's how I felt with Kate Bishop, that by having Hawkeye have his own series, you've been able to open a door to bring her in. And I think that was the smartest way to do it, rather than just bring her into a film where you don't get the chance to develop her. We spend a lot of time with her in this. And I think that's what's working great, because I mentioned how good she is in the action scenes. I want to talk about the action choreography in this show as well. The choreography has been done very well. It's easy to follow. It's good action. It feels a little bit different to what we've seen before with Marvel. And of course, they've both got the bow and arrows. We're obviously going to see some things like that. And there's also some really funny sequences. I think episode 2, for when you guys get the chance to see it at home, there's obviously a setting for a duel, you could put it, or something like that. And the whole build up to that is just great. And that's just Jeremy Renner being able to do comedy, being able to do action, and his character just had this natural progression towards where his character arc is now. And for the Hawkeye fans, he is going deaf in this. He's got the hearing aid, which is a very famous comic storyline, I believe. And it's little things like that that makes you think, he's been doing this for almost 9 years now, and 10 years, I guess, if you include the cameo in Thor. And it's insane to think he had to wait that long to get something. But at the same time, you can understand why. And I think TV's been the best format for him. So off the back of that, I just want to say, yes, the action is superb. The story I'm very invested in. I'm not going to give too much of that away. But I said how a lot of body cop shows go. There's lots of investigating things to happen. And after 2 episodes, I'm fully on board for what's going to come in the next 4. And as well as I want to bring music, because this is also very old school. This has a proper intro, the opening credits and everything, which I was really blown away by. I thought was really great, really different, very unique. You get to see that in episode 1, so do stick around for that. But the music in this, I think, works pretty cool. It's obviously Christmas themed, so you're going to expect some Christmas songs in there, or some sort of thematics of Christmas. But when you get Depeche Mode in there and they start bringing in different things, I think it makes it a little bit more exciting for people than the bog standard stuff. Yes, you get the bog standard stuff, but there's some really interesting things set up that the music does help with. And that kind of extends my thoughts on the show, that it's been a really welcome surprise. Obviously, I was going to be watching this regardless, but I just kind of thought, okay, it's going to be fine. And that's how I felt with Loki, that Loki had all the multiverse to fall. What's it going to do? What's it going to do? WandaVision was what on earth's going to happen. Whereas this feels more like Falcon and Winter Soldier in a very good way, that this is going to be a character piece on these 2 characters at hand. Now, I'd say the first 2 episodes of this have been a lot better than the start of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I do very much enjoy that show. There were some problems with the series as time's gone by, but Hawkeye, by the end of this year, could be up there with WandaVision as far as I'm concerned, based off those first 2 episodes. The pacing was really good. They weren't too long, they weren't too short, and each episode has its own arc. So I'm excited to see what does come next. Obviously, these are going to be airing every Wednesday. And as I said, we will be doing a video towards the end for a spoiler discussion on the whole series. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a season 2, or will it be a case of Kate Bishop being an Avenger? I don't know. Obviously, no one really knows where Marvel's heading right now, bar the multiverse stuff. So that's all I can kind of say on this spoiler-free review of Hawkeye. Hope I've not given too much away. I don't think I have. And at the same time, obviously, I want you guys to be able to watch this. By the time this video goes up, this will be airing tomorrow, 8 a.m. GMT as always, midnight, I think, Pacific time in America. So you'll be able to catch episodes 1 and 2 together. And then every Wednesday, do expect them coming out with the finale, perfect Christmas setting, Wednesday, the 22nd of December. Although that day's also got The Matrix and Kingsman coming out. So it's going to be quite an insane week, the same week as Spider-Man. So I want to thank everybody for watching. For this and what's more, I want you to know your thoughts on Hawkeye. Is he one of your favorite characters? Is this a show you're looking forward to, or is this a show you're sort of willing to wait to binge together? Now, obviously, we've not seen them, but if the internet wasn't as awful with spoilers as it is, brackets America, I think this would have been a great sort of Christmas binge on Christmas week, doing all 6 episodes together. But I'm also happy to watch it weekly. I'm going to be watching this every Wednesday, probably on my lunch breaks because I'm back in the office. But it is one of them where I think fans are going to really enjoy this, and it'll probably bring in a new respect to Hawkeye. And obviously, as I said, introducing Kate Bishop's going to be massive heading forward. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We always appreciate your support. We've got a lot more Marvel videos coming on the way. Of course, one of those, as I mentioned earlier, is the Spider-Man reviews. Every Wednesday, we're doing a live-action Spider-Man film. Tomorrow will be Spider-Man 2. We're on the Tobey Maguire films at the moment. We'll be doing the Andrew Garfield ones. We need to redate one of them because of No Way Home's new release date. So if you're a fan of Marvel, we'll be here every Wednesday covering more Marvel stuff. And obviously, heading into next year, there's an insane amount of shows. We've got new films coming out. So this is a place to be. And earlier this year, we did a review on the Infinity Saga across 3 months. There's a link in the description. Do check that out if you're a fan of Marvel. And a couple of other things. We've got the Peter Jackson retrospective happening at the moment. The next one's going to be The Frighteners, coming this Thursday, the 25th of November. We've got a lot of new releases coming out as well, and there's something big coming in December. So we've got a lot of stuff happening on the channel. The best way to find out about those is getting us on our socials. As I said, Twitter @cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy, and of course, TeePublic in the link in the description below. Once again, thank you all for watching. I'm excited to get into episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6, and for you guys to be able to experience these at home. So I want to thank you all for watching. I'll be sure to see you on the next one. Take care.